Hello there, and welcome to your favorite forum for business. This is Kingdom Business Network. This is for business growth and wealth creation. Well, why business? Well, a lot of us are in business, and even if you're in employment, I'm sure you're employed in some form of business, because business is about solving problems, meeting needs, bringing solutions to different needs in our society, in our communities. And it is so important. That's why we have this forum where we come together and we look at different or various dynamics of business and how we can succeed in business. Because for sure, we are strong believers that God wants you to succeed in business. He wants you to prevail against all obstacles that may come your way. Indeed, we know there are many pitfalls, we know there are challenges, there are setbacks. Again, there are processes and structures that you need to have in your business. And the good thing with this forum is that it cuts across, where we handle issues that people go through different levels, whether you're just starting, maybe you just have an idea of starting a business, or maybe you just started this January, or even maybe your business has been in existence for the last 5-10 years or even more. So this is an important forum for you, and we want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. And I have no doubt from our discussions and our deliberations today, you'll be able to learn so much, because information is power. And what you don't know may be killing you or maybe destroying your business. And therefore, the information you get from here is very crucial for your personal growth, for your business, so that even somebody on the verge of quitting or giving up, well, I'm sure there is something you will learn. So, karibu sana, and God will bless you. Well, with me today, I have my friend here, Dr. Francis, and he's been with us on this forum before. I want him to greet us and tell us what he's been thinking about business. Dr. Francis Mongai, tell us how is life? We are still early in the year, and how things are going in the world of business. What have you been up to?
Well, viewer, I would want to welcome you to this program this day. We are very glad to be in your homes and you're listening to us. We don't take it for granted. Matters business are very challenging and very inspiring, and also very rewarding at the same time. So we need to look for a balance. We don't get demotivated. We don't get discouraged. We need to fight on, soldier on, and move on, because there's a lot that we can be able to benefit out of business. Business is one of the ways that you can actually create wealth, and in difficult business environment like the one we have in our country, it's very good for you to be much more equipped and much more knowledgeable about tips and how to go about running a successful business. And that's why today we have brought in another person to also look at this issue and also help you in that area of wealth creation.
Thank you, Dr. Francis. And before even we go to our guest today, if somebody just came up to you and asked, why do some businesses succeed and others do not succeed? You have been in the world of business, entrepreneurship, marketing, and all that. And I'm sure you have encountered a lot of businesses, wherever you have been in the country and even beyond. Why do you think, in a nutshell, if somebody would come and say, why is my business not succeeding? And somebody else would say, why is my business succeeding? What are some of those key indicators of a succeeding business and one that is not?
Well, it's a very interesting question and very, very wide, because it also cuts across different businesses and different personalities and different way of people doing business. Mm-hmm. But in a nutshell, I would say there are a number of factors which cause a majority of businesses to fail or not to succeed. There could be poor planning, whereby people are not really planning how the business is going to pan out. There could be issues with not taking care of customer needs. That's from a marketing perspective. And that becomes very, very critical, because if you don't take care of customer needs or understand your customer or evaluate the feedbacks you're getting from your customer, then that becomes a source of the beginning of business failure. The other issue from a financial point of view is whereby you actually don't look at your cash flows. So when you don't look at your cash flows, from a financial point of view, becomes a problem, because as we've said in previous episodes, cash is king in a business. So you have to take care of your credit facilities, how you collect your money and all that. Coming from an operation point of view, you have to have proper processes. You have to have procedures of running your businesses and running your operations. If you don't have strong processes and procedures, then it becomes as another problem. Now, for family businesses, then we have issues of succession planning, issues of decision making within family businesses, issues of continuities, and the rest. So it's a myriad of number of reasons, but those could be some of the key ones that I can think about.
I like that. You know, planning, customer care, cash flow, structures and processes, and of course, come to succession. I mean, that's so important. So thank you again, and welcome to Kingdom Business Network. This is a place where we think about business growth and we have discussions on wealth creation. And today we have a special guest. His name is Michael Waithaka, and he's been an entrepreneur in business and marketing and growing small businesses into big businesses. So I want him to introduce himself and tell us who is Michael. Karibu sana, and tell us what you do.
Thank you very much, Bishop, and thank you for inviting me to this program. It's a great pleasure. My name is Michael Waithaka, and I'm 57 years old, and I've been in business now, I would say, for the last 28 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's recently about 4 years that I've gotten into running my own business. There before I was running other people's businesses, but basically I've been in the business for the last 28 years.
Wow, that's quite a journey. Because 28 years, you can imagine a child who was born then, and now they could be having their own family and 1 or 2 children and such.
Yeah.
But that's a long journey. So how did you get into this journey? Maybe you can tell us a little bit from your background, training, and all that.
Yeah, in college I trained as a chemist. I did a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry, and way back in 1995, that's when I got employed in Unilever Kenya, the former East African Industries, as a technical customer service representative, and got into sales and marketing of cleaning and hygiene products. And I worked there from East Africa Industries. I joined Diverse, which was acquired by Unilever then, and over time I grew from a salesperson out there in the field to a business manager after a couple of years. And about 4 years ago, that's when I decided to leave employment so that I can start my own entrepreneurship or my own business. And what drew me into it is having worked over time. There are some skills that I had gained, and I felt like it would be interesting to also have a try at a business that I'm managing. Yes.
Wow, interesting. So in employment for about 24 years?
Yes.
Yes, that's quite a journey. So how was it, being employed for 24 years, and how did you grow? Of course, you are running business, not your own business.
Yes.
What were your roles, responsibilities, your key areas of operation in the businesses you are working for?
I was largely in sales and marketing, and that is selling of cleaning and hygiene products. And in this case, you are talking about general purpose cleaners, degreasers, oven cleaners, utensils distainers for the kitchens, and toilet cleaners for hotels and institutions, air fresheners for hotels and institutions, products for cleaning closed vessels in food processing factories, for instance, dairy companies, juice manufacturers. And so I was basically, I was mainly involved in business development. I was responsible most of the time in approaching new clients, identifying their needs, and matching their needs to the offering that we had, and I was responsible for making the presentations and doing the necessary product demonstrations that they needed to be done, and most importantly, giving them value propositions that would move them from the positions that they were in to a place whereby they'll be able to meet their objectives, but at a cost that they would afford.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, looking at, you're talking about cleaning. It's
Yes.
like all you did was, you must be a very clean person.
Well, I'm still working on it, but I think that's my area of operation, and I've tried my best, but there's still room for improvement.
So it's like the companies you work for, and even what you're doing right now. I see a line of specialization where they specialized in, cleaning, detergents and all that.
Yes.
So, and I find a lot in Kenya where somebody wants to do business, and what we do, you bring in some cleaning detergent, something else. How do you think that's a good model where somebody or a company specializes with one line of business, as opposed to you're making some cleaning detergent, you also are doing maybe electronics, you're doing shoes, you're doing clothes, you're doing all that? How do you compare that, or what did you think that was a good model?
Yeah. One of the things that I identified as a line of business is the passion that I had in what I'm currently doing. And it's good to note that out of the 24 years that I worked, I also had a 4-year tenure at a farm selling beverage products. That was mainly tea and coffee. But when it came to the time of starting a business, I felt my passion was in cleaning and hygiene. That is where I had a lot of expertise and I had a lot of training in, and that is where I felt I would flow as a businessman, and that's why I got into it. And so I had spent about 21 years selling cleaning and hygiene products, and that's why I'm in it. So because I'm passionate about it, and so it's very important for one to be passionate about what they are going to get into business in, because that's a business that I understand. And if I got into another business, that would be a distraction. So because there it has
how passionate, when you say you're passionate about it, how passionate are you? Maybe you can dive in a little bit and tell us what are some of your success stories, some of the businesses you have done and deals, and the impact you can see from what you have done.
If I can talk of prior to starting my own business, in my business development endeavors, while in employment, there are some substantial businesses that I was able to deliver to my employer many years ago. In factories manufacturing soft drinks, factories manufacturing juices, factories manufacturing dairy products, and those are multi-million business deals that we were able to deliver to my employer.
Okay.
And currently I'm working with some clients who are quite satisfied with the product and the service that we are giving them, because we do believe in offering a solution to our clients. And so what we do is I first identify what the client's issues and requirements and all problems are, and then we tailor a solution to overcome those problems. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your story, which is quite amazing. But I'm asking myself a question: how was the transition? Transitioning from being employed to starting your own business. How was that transition? What were the challenges? You know, what really made you want to get started? If you could take us around that space of the move, because there are so many people listening to us, and they are in employment, and they are thinking of might be starting their own business, but they are trying to weigh between being employed and starting your own. Which is which? You know, which direction should you go? What are the challenges from your own experience?
I think from my own experience, I would say frankly, it reached a place whereby I felt being told what to do. I had been told that I've reported to my boss for too long, and so I felt if I did my own thing, I would have to first manage the challenges on my own. And that one of the things that I did I quit from employment by faith and trusted God, the God who had kept me in employment all the years. I trusted him to see me through. Incidentally, I got into business at the height of Corona. That was I quit from my job in March of 2020. I got into private business.
That's during Corona.
That was during
That's
Corona.
Very daring.
Yeah, and I really want to thank God, because God is faithful. Because he did not let me down when I started off. I got into what I knew best to do. So a place whereby I was not going to ask for help of how do we do this, and that is where now my passion comes in. And so you asked how passionate am I? I am very passionate in cleaning and hygiene, or provision of chemicals, whether you're talking about chemicals for cleaning mainly, chemicals for sticking things together, glues, and that kind of thing. And so the challenges, of course, I met is my former colleagues in employment felt like I had made an unwise decision. In fact, I remember my boss telling me that he was ready to offer me another job in another company.
So they didn't want you to.
They didn't want me to leave, but I had made up my mind to get into self-employment, and so the one of the challenges was people discouraging me from getting into it. The other challenge, of course, was the fact that I did not have a cash reserve. In fact, I did not have cash that I was going to use in starting off this business. I can say I started off by faith, and fortunately, God makes a way when you trust Him. Because I was able to approach a major chemical supplier, clean chemical supplier, who was able to give me a distributorship. And that helped me a lot in the initial stages of.
So you distribute their products.
I distribute their products. Yes.
So I have heard you mention, God, and you trusted God. You had faith.
Yes.
Tell us how does faith come into business? It sounds like you're a man of faith.
Yeah, Bishop, you are very right.
For somebody listening to you for the first time,
yes,
and they are wondering, okay, you're mentioning faith, God.
Yes.
I thought we are talking about business. Is there a relationship here?
Yes. I want to say that God wants us to prosper, and God, I have faith in God. I'm a man who believes in a God who sustains us and takes care of us, and a God who wants us to prosper. Yeah. And when I got into employment, I mean, when I was leaving employment, I had seen God see me through, even in employment, trusting Him for Him to open doors or getting into situations that were difficult. And I saw Him get me out of difficult situations and empowering me even to grow in my journey, acquisition of skills.
Yeah.
And by the time I was leaving employment, I was more skilled than when I began. And so I am one man who believes in the power of God and the fact that God is the one who gives us power to make wealth. In fact, the Bible says in Deuteronomy 18 that we should not forget about the Lord our God, because He's the one who gives us power to make wealth. And so God is the one who wants us to get into business. He himself being a businessman. So He wants us to get into business so that we can create wealth for our families and create wealth for the kingdom of God, so that we can execute His purpose, and we can also realize our dreams as we in our sojourn here on earth.
Wow.
Oh, that's quite a something. God is the one who wants us to get wealthy. He's the one who gives us the power to make wealth.
Yes.
I'm still focusing on this stage of the transition.
Yes.
Because I know there is a viewer here who wants to start their own business.
Yes.
Just want to ask you, is there a preparation or a planning that somebody needs to do if you're employed? What planning or preparation do you need to transition from employment to starting your own business?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mungai. It's true. One needs to prepare themselves. And fortunately, by the time I was quitting employment, I had registered a company about more than 10 years ago by then. And so I had already registered a firm because I knew that one time was going to come. So it is important to prepare. One of the things to do is ensure that you have registered a business. And most importantly, also ensure that you are well versed in the area of business that you would want to do. You need to be very clear. It is not a question of searching for the kind of business that you would want to do, but it is what is in your heart and what you feel you are ready for. And you may not have a great infrastructure. I would not tell you that you'd have to have a very great infrastructure. You'd have to have a certain cash reserve in the bank for you to start off. But what is important is, even in your mind, you know that there are clients that you would want to serve, because in a business without customers cannot thrive. And so it is important for you to know, if I get out to set up my own business, what clientele am I going to serve, and how will I be able to execute it myself. And starting off a business, you have to be ready to go out of the way and do everything from A to Z. So it is very, very necessary. There are things that you may not prepare ourselves. You may not make sure that you have an accounting department. You may not have a production department when you're starting off. There has to be an element, and a big element of faith when you're starting off. But definitely there are some basics that must be in place. Those basics may be physical or they may not be physical. I started off with very few physical elements.
Did you have an office?
Start off. I didn't have an office, but I identified that where I live, my house is big. So I converted one of the houses, one of the rooms to be my office.
Oh, so you're working from home?
I'm working from home.
Of course, all you need maybe is a computer.
Yes. And
you said, I think you mentioned earlier, you didn't have a lot of savings and a lot of money.
No.
But your capital here was somebody could entrust you with their stock.
Yes.
Because there's somebody out there who wants to sell items or products but they need somebody who can help them get them, get
Yes.
their products out there.
Yes.
And here you're able to do that for them. But again, there is an issue of trust and integrity.
Yes.
That actually they can trust you, you go sell, or maybe you can take us through that. How was that journey? Was it like they give you the products, go sell, come and pay us, or how was that?
It was them giving me the product, and then I can on credit, on 30 days credit, and then I can sell. So that's how we started. But I also want to mention about trust, at the integrity, because it is important for one, when they are in employment, to be people who are trustworthy, and people who have a name. And so when one is in employment, it's best for you to give your all and do your best, so that during the time of your need, then you can be able to talk to someone and they can be able to listen. And
so these are people you met when you are working,
these are people that I met when I was working, and these are people that knew me very well. These are people that they had a testimony of the kind of person that I am, and so far they've proved that they've seen that we've continued with the relationship without any trouble. And I also want to mention that God looks at our faithfulness.
Yeah.
If we are faithful, I would want to say that there are many instances that the Word of God talks about our faithfulness with ritual, and God giving us more giving us more because we were faithful with little. And so it is important for us, for anyone, any viewer, that when you are still in employment, to be very faithful to your employer. Do not play games with your employer. Even if you are going to prepare yourself into getting into your own business, be very faithful to your employer, or report early, do the work tasks, or exceed the targets that you may have been given. You never know. This is a seed that you are sowing, and there's a time that will come for you to reap. And I would want to say, Bishop, for me, I do believe with the whole of my heart, when my time of need came, I did not have much struggle. And I felt like this was a time that God was also rewarding me for the days that I was faithful.
Wow.
So, as it is.
Dr. Francis, what are you hearing here? Because I think that's we can dwell a little bit for a few minutes on that. Faithfulness, integrity, protecting your name. Because there are so many people, either you're employed or you're in business, but they are not practicing these values. Because again, your capital is not only the money you have. People think, I want to start business, where is the money? But here, somebody is telling us they're starting business, not with money, but with a good name in the world of professionals and business, because many people mess up with their name. And I'm reminded in the scripture where the Bible says a good name is better than gold. So what can you comment about that?
Well, what Michael is saying is very, very powerful and very strong, especially for these people who keep on saying, I don't have capital to start a business. In short, what Michael is telling us, for a viewer who might not have grasped what he's saying that he started this business, his own business now, without capital. And the capital he had is the honesty, the trust, and a good name that he had with his previous employers. And the previous people he worked with in business. So when he went back to these people, he was able to actually attract credit. 30 days credit, you can imagine. Because he worked with them, he had a good name, he was a man of integrity, a honest person, a trustworthy person. Now, this is an opportunity for you. Wherever you're working, you can actually do business with your employer where once you leave and decide to start your own business. You don't have to go and reinvent the wheel or try and go look for this or look for that. If they know you, they can trust you. Then when you start your own, they'll be very willing to actually even support you one way or another. So it's an opportunity that I see that you can actually even become a distributor of your company that you're working with today. All they want to see is a man who is trustworthy, a man who is honest, a man who worked diligently for them, and then they'll be able to support you. And then from there, that can become a platform for growth.
Wow, I like that. So I think all of you listening and following, thank you so much. This is a Kingdom Business Network where we talk about business growth and wealth creation. And what is coming out very clearly is that it's good to be a man, a woman of integrity if you're going to be in business for long. Because the people who get the opportunity, who get the chance, and they're in business, and then you look for them after 2, 3, 5 years, you cannot see them. They came down, their business came down crumbling, and because they did not follow some of the things that are very key indicators, key principles, value systems that we are talking about here, that Mr. Waithaka is telling us that he started a business not because he had money. Of course, he had a plan. He had worked for 24 years, and he was a faithful worker, such that even the people he worked with, when and the business where he was employed, when he wanted to leave, they were actually begging him not to leave. There are some people who will want to leave, and the employer would say good riddance, because they were always trouble, makers. They were bringing losses into business. So are you bringing value in your business? Well, at this juncture, we want to take a short break, and then we will come back, and this will be continuing. And I have no doubt this is going to help your business. It's going to help each one of us, because whether you're employed, whether you're in business, we will be able to follow through. So, well, join us in a few minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Kingdom Business Network, and today we have very blessed to have a very enriching discussion on how to establish a new business and how to grow that business, because it's either you're starting or you're growing your business so that it can flourish and then you can get the fruit from your business. Again, here with Dr. Francis. Maybe we can give a comment as we continue before we come back to our guest here, Mr. Waithaka, on how to establish. I'm sure you have established several businesses. What are some of those challenges that people go through the initial stages? Because some businesses will fail probably even before they start or even before they get established. So what are some, if somebody is going to start or just starting, especially in January, people start a lot of businesses and some of them don't see the end of the year. So what are some of those things that people should watch?
Well, Bishop, I'm just looking at the transition from being employed, which I would actually want to ask Michael to elaborate much more on, whereby you're actually coming from a place, you're working for this big corporation or big company which had all the different departments and functions. There was HR, there was accounts, there was sales, there was marketing, and there was all that. And might be when you are there, you are in one of the many departments, and somebody else was doing things for you, and you always had an excuse because you didn't meet your target, because might be marketing didn't do their job, or you didn't meet your production target because there was no sales coming forth from the sales department and all that. And then now here as an entrepreneur, you start a business and all of a sudden you are the marketer, you are the salesperson, you are the producer, you are you are everything. And that becomes very, very difficult and very, very challenging for a lot of people. Whereby now you've come from a place people used to tell you what to do, or people did other things to support you. But here you're not only the one who is telling yourself what to do, but you're also doing it, and actually doing it in a multifunctional way. And that becomes very, very challenging. And that becomes one of the sources of business failure, especially for people who are starting up. And I'm just wondering how Michael Waithaka here navigated that space. But he can tell us.
Let me say that it is a challenging moment, because everything works against you. So you are really going against these forces. And I think the first thing, like I said before, if you are starting off a business that you are passionate about, and that's one. Secondly, you are ready for it. You are ready that for whatever comes your way. When I started off the business, I was doing everything, and I do most of the things. Even today, I do quite a number of things. But I was fortunately able to have my brother is an auditor, is an accountant, and so I was able to have all my accounts done by him. I was able to again start off the business at home. I was able to get one of the office in my house, so I operate the business from home. So I was able to look at one of the things that can lower my cost of operation. Fortunately, I've gotten a lot of support from my co-director, who is my wife. I was also able to explain and bring in our children into the business, so that those that are available and those that can support the business, like my son is a computer scientist. He's the one who's been able to work on the IT side, and so I was able to get support from within, and that really helped me push through. But my determination and my humility, one needs to be humble enough to do that which they couldn't do. Because previously I could not lift up a jerrycan, 20-liter jerrycan. I had to ask somebody to do it. But here comes a time when I have to do it myself. Why? Because I'm determined to do it.
Because earlier you were the boss.
Because earlier I was the boss. Now
you are
here,
the employee.
now I'm the employee. I am everything. I'm the boss. I'm the boss and the employee at the same time. So I was able to do everything on my own. But at the same time, I was also able to. I used what I had. I used what I had. The vehicle that I was driving, I was able to use it also as the delivery truck.
Okay.
So it is important for one, when you start starting a business, look at what you have, and what you may not have is in somebody else. The other element is in terms of transportation of product. I was able to get someone who operates riders. So I was able to contract him. So I did not allow myself to be the one running up and down for taking care of each and everything. So first I had to be humble enough to do the nitty-gritty. Run up and down.
Do the manual work.
Do the manual work.
Do anything you can.
Do anything I can. But whatever I was able to pass, or I could pass on to other people, I was able to do it where I was, and the help that I could get. But I would want to say the determination that I had was so strong, and out of that I have been able to see God lift the business from one level to the other. And I would want to say, Bishop, that it is as child of God and as a man of God, one of the things that helped me also is to have God being part and parcel of my start. Being a person who believes in paying 10% of all my income to God, that also I believe helped me a lot in having God being incorporated from the word go, and having the determination with the setbacks that came, some few clients maybe getting late in payment. It has been, I had to push through, and I'm still pushing through. But I want to say that God has been faithful.
I like the idea of, and thank you for sharing your story. And please, if you have any questions or so following us, please send us a question or comments. Tell us where you're watching from. Would really be glad to answer some of those questions at the end. And I like the idea of using what you have. You're talking of working with your wife here as a co-director, your children, they're good in computer and all that. I think, I don't know, maybe Dr. Francis, you can comment on that. How, because some people you would have come with what I would call the boss kind of mentality, the boss syndrome, where you say, I'm the boss. So you're looking for somebody to send and do everything. But here you're starting a new business, putting your hands into work. I think it's very important. I think there are a lot of people who are not able to transition from being the boss to now you are actually your own boss, and also you are the employer or the employee. At the same time you are the employer. I think that transitioning is very crucial, where you are able to adjust. I think the word is adjusting. A lot of people are not able to adjust. Maybe you can make a comment on that.
Well, what I would say is that there are many people who might not have the opportunity to have a lot of capital to employ others when they are starting. If you have the capital to employ people, a HR, a marketer, a salesperson, etc., well and good. Go ahead and do that, because then you'll have the proper structures and the personnel and the people to support you. But here we are looking at his journey, and in his journey he actually started from down there with very little faith in God, passion in what he wanted to do, and with the very little resources. So if you are listening to me and you're actually coming from that point whereby you are coming from a place you have very little resources, then you have to be ready to do everything that entails and as pertains to that business that you have started. And from there, then you have to also look at who are people within the your family setup or around you who can support you in one way or another. In his case, the wife was there to support as a co-director. The brother was there to support in the area of accounts. The sons were also able to support, because again, he's brought in a very, very important point here, that a lot of us, we need to look at wealth creation in terms of a generation, in a generational way. And if you are able to start a business and also introduce your family into that business early enough, and then put structures and processes and systems in place to ensure the continuity of that business, then you are looking at many, many years to come. You're not only looking at today. So there's no problem with you introducing your children, introducing your spouse into your business at an early stage, because that also causes them to have an opportunity to start to grow with that business. And then what you're also signaling is that you're signaling that this is not my business, it is our business. So you're actually looking at it as a way of actually getting empowerment or financial freedom, not only for you, but also for your family. And that's why it's very, very important for you to incorporate your family into what you're doing. And if you are able to equip them with the skills and the knowledge, because you are privileged to have come from a place you are employed, so you're exposed to a lot of things in running a business. Your children might not be. However, you can become the mentor to your children. You can teach them, you can give them the skills, you can equip them. You can also identify areas whereby now, if they are a bit passionate in one area, you can tell them, might be assuming they have not gone to university or to a college, you can tell them, now you seem to be passionate in accounting. Yes. Why don't you go and take accounting? Right. With the hope that once he finishes the accounting, he can come back and support the business. Right. Another one might be very good in making things. Yes. You can tell him, why don't you go and pursue operations? Yes. And then when you finish operations, you can come back and support the business. And we see this model, Bishop, especially with a community in this country. I don't want to mention the communities, but you can feel for yourself, which actually, when they start a business, their kids go and take up functions which are in courses in the university or colleges, which will come back and support the business. Yes. And they don't go looking around for employment. They actually come back to their family businesses. Yes. And they might have started many, many years ago when we were building the railway. Yes. Now you know who I'm talking about. Yes. But their uncle, their great-grandfathers might be started a shop somewhere in Gara or wherever it is. Right. Today, that small shop has grown to be a very big factory. Not only supplying Kenya, but East Africa and even bigger region. Yes. How did it start? It started as a family business. Right. And today, we are talking about wealth creation. We are also talking about job creation for the young people. Right. I ask myself, we have kids, who will employ them? You know, you can imagine today people are looking for jobs and there are no jobs. Yes. So if you can have an opportunity to create your own, and then equip your children, such that when they go out there, they have somewhere to lean on, then you are doing something which can stay within the family for generations to come. True.
Wow, amazing. I like that. And we can also create businesses that will employ the young people. Yes. Because it's one thing to keep complaining, oh, there are no jobs. And for sure, Kenya, there's a big problem of unemployment. But what are we doing in our own small way? Yes. I'm sure today you have employed quite a number of people. You know, the same with us. Through the business avenues that we have access to. So I think that is so important. Thank you so much. If you have any question, and we appreciate you, Sari, watching from Utawara. Thank you so much. Keep watching. Rebecca from Uganda, thank you. Keep watching. All of you that are joining us, if you have any question about business, you can share with us. At the tail end, we'll be able to answer your question. Coming back to you, I think you tell us a little bit about your family now that you have mentioned your wife, and because it's still part of business. If you are not stable at home, then you're not stable anywhere else. So
that's true, Bishop. Thank you very much. I'm glad to say that I am married with one wife, and God has blessed us with 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. Yes.
How old are they?
The firstborn is 28 years. The secondborn is 25, and the thirdborn is 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look like you're 28 yourself.
It's by the grace of God.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know the grace of God, but what do you also do to keep fit, to keep going? Because again, for business, you
Yes.
need to be fit, you need to be in the right mind, you
Yes.
need to be, physically well.
Yes.
Anything you do is only the grace of God.
No. I fast to make sure that I'm spiritually healthy. I do make sure that I'm well connected with my Maker, and physically I make sure that I exercise as much as I can.
Okay.
I may have gaps, but I try my best. And at the same time also make sure that my mind is active, and I keep abreast with whatever is happening within our country and across the nations.
You do reading?
Yeah, I do reading.
What kind of books do you read? Bible? Or?
I do read the Bible.
Okay.
I also do read motivational books on topical areas, faith, and fasting, prayer.
All kinds of books. Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
Leadership.
Leadership. Books that have been written by other professionals within business, within the church.
Are there books that are written for the purpose of business? I know a few, but I'm just wondering how is that in the market? Is it like broad? And I've written a few books. Maybe you haven't read mine. I'll bring some to you. But are there books that are wired toward business?
Yes, there are books that are wired towards business. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because again, what we are saying here, business is all around.
Yes.
And I think you have talked about spiritually.
Yes.
You have to be properly well taken care of.
Yes.
Spiritually.
Yes.
And then physically.
Yes.
Because again, as much as you're doing business and you want to succeed,
Yeah.
if your business or rather your body is not in the right place, and then your mind,
Yes.
are you equipping your mind?
Right.
What kind of information are you putting through your system?
Yes.
Especially in these days of social media, when we are getting a lot of media overload and a lot of information maybe we don't even need, which is not good for our consumption. And that is what is taking maybe 80-70% of our time than using a lot of our time to build ourselves. Because again, I'm reminded the verse in the Bible that says, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
So knowledge in business is key. So if you're saying you want to succeed in business and you're not knowledgeable in your field, again, you cannot go very far. So I think you're listening, reading books that are in line with what you're doing.
Yes.
I think it's also, let's say you venture into the world of electronics or communication or clothing and all that. You want to learn, you want to understand how does this work, or beauty products, or this or the other. I think it's I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, that's very, very important, that you have to keep on updating yourself. Somebody says if you don't update yourself, you'll be outdated.
Yes.
So one of the ways to do that is by reading. And reading is easy nowadays.
Yeah.
You can actually utilize positively social media like YouTube.
Yes.
A lot of people, when they think of YouTube, they think about just watching some soap opera, some Niger movies and the rest of it, some kumbagias and all that. But you can actually utilize
preaching.
it. Preaching is a positive one.
But don't just watch preaching.
There are
many other things.
The other things. So like if it's a business, you can actually Google on YouTube some business topics, and it will give you a whole list, and you can actually listen to what people are saying. At the same time, even books, you can actually get a lot of business books on YouTube summarized for you.
Yes.
So actually do listen to a lot of YouTube book summary.
Yes.
And they actually even do the cartoons, or they call it graphics or whatever, so they illustrate them very well.
Yes.
So for example, they'll tell you this book, which might be 300 pages, what are the key themes? And in about 30-45 minutes, they will summarize it for you, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, up to whatever chapter it is, with cartoons and all that. Makes it easy for you to digest and share and distill the key ideas. And you can actually go through a lot of books in that method. And that way you're able to actually equip yourself, when you are doing business, you are an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You might have gaps.
Yeah.
Might be innovation.
Yes.
Disruptive thinking.
Yes.
Might be processes, structures, strategies, process, and all that. You can actually fill in that gap with YouTube videos.
Yes.
I remember there is one. Sorry to digress. There is one runner. I can't remember his name. He actually was asked a simple question: how did you train and become this good in athletics?
Okay.
And the surprise answer he gave, he said he actually trained using YouTube. I didn't even know you could use YouTube to train as an athlete. I've forgotten his name, and he broke a world record. I've just forgotten his name. He's from Eldoret.
Yes.
So there's a wealth of wealth that you can actually get from YouTube.
Yes.
And that. I personally have a lot of books, Bishop. I think I have thousands upon thousands of books.
Wow.
I was privileged to have a site sometimes in the past where I was able to download a lot of textbooks, a lot of reading books and all that, in PDF form,
Yes.
which I actually read.
Yes.
And then when I supplement with YouTube, then I'm able to keep myself much more informed. Yeah.
So information is power.
It's very important.
You know, so that you're not outdated.
Yes.
And I think it is well said. As our time is almost running out, I think you mentioned something about cutting costs of doing business or lowering, costs of course you want to be efficient.
Yes.
You don't want to cut corners, you don't want to compromise.
Yeah.
But how can somebody, like you mentioned a few areas, like you using your family, working from home and all that, because everybody will be complaining about, well, cost of doing business is really gone up, whether it's fuel, whether it's power, whether it's infrastructure, computer and networking and all that, hiring and all that. How can we in business, whether we are starting or we are established, try to minimize or reduce cost in doing business?
I think one of the ways of cutting costs is considering before we incur any cost, we evaluate the alternatives available or the options that are available before we go for one. For instance, today when you are sending out parcels, we may decide to use a vehicle, may decide to use a motorbike, you may decide to use a bus. Depending on where the client is, then you can make the right decision, and depending on the safety of the item being transported via the method of transport that you choose. So, if, for instance, it's a question of hiring, it's important to consider whether the business has come to a place whereby they are able to support the individual that is going to be hired, or is it a function that can be done within the business, or is it something that you can do yourself, or is it something that you can contract? For instance, if it may be an accounting function, it may not be necessary where we are saying we are doing business so that we can create employment opportunities. But maybe the business has not come to a place whereby it's able to employ a fully fledged accountant, so we can hire accounting services. There are so many services that one can hire out, whether they are HR services, whether they are accounting services, courier services. We may not have to acquire vehicles to transport our goods. There are many courier services, courier companies in our country, which we can do the transportation. And I think, and if it's a question of even hiring trainers for the staff, we can evaluate the people that are available, that we get the best out of it, and we look at those that will give us that have a competitive edge when we are hiring them into our business. That would make sure that our costs are low, as low as possible, and especially when the fuel costs are so high, vehicle maintenance costs are so high, transportation becomes a key area where we can be able to lower our costs. Yeah.
Wow, I like that. I think I like what you said. Way different options.
Yeah.
Life has many options. So when you're thinking about should I go this way or this way?
Yeah.
What means should I use here?
Yes.
It's always good to think about what other options are available for me? Because many people, especially in the days we are living in, the cost of doing business can really be quite high. It's always good to think, must I go to this place, or maybe I can do it, or send a rider or something like that, so that again you're not on the road like throughout. You're consuming a lot of gas. You have to go look for parking. You pay for it, and all that. Some of those things. Maybe sometimes even maybe cheaper to use an Uber than driving your car, and all those kind of things. So I don't know what you can chip in on that.
What I would say is it's very important for a business to also identify what is your core function. In his case, and he will tell us whether that is so, you need to identify, are you a marketing company, for example? And if you're a marketing company, then your business is to go to look for a market, look for a customer, and then all the other services around that, you can outsource them.
Yes.
You can outsource deliveries, you can outsource your accounts function, you can outsource your HR function and all that. So that you focus yourself as just a marketing company. So you're just looking for markets, looking for distributorship, looking for market, and all the other services are done by somebody else. Another company might actually say they are a producing company, or they are manufacturing. And we've seen some companies like those. All their work they do is to manufacture. So they manufacture at the least cost possible. Then once they manufacture, they don't have any business looking for markets. All they do is look for big distributors who just come and pick, and they go and sell, and then they don't want to handle that part. Alternatively, you find these people are just manufacturing, and they can manufacture for anybody, and they can manufacture anything. So you, as Michael, your company wants some detergents manufactured, you go to this guy, he'll make it for you. You come and pick it, take it wherever you are taking it. Me, I'm another detergent company. I go to him. He manufactures for me, but he doesn't sell. He doesn't do the retail, he doesn't do the wholesale and all that. So it's very good for you to actually look at what's your core function, and focus on that, and that can help you do a lot of cost savings.
Wow, that is well said. Think about the costs, because that is important. Maybe in closing, there is also the cost of which people maybe don't consider as a cost, but losses. You're dealing with the products here. There are people probably you hired that have no integrity. You could be losing through time. Maybe they are taking time out of your business, where in quotes, they are stealing your time, and they are not doing what they're supposed. They are not delivering, and others could also be stealing. You are selling products, like now you're delivering a lot of products. Some may have to go to Eastern, Western, wherever, and then you send people, they are stealing on the way, they compromise on the standards. How do we cap that in closing, or how do you manage that?
The person that I'm working with, the firm that I'm working with in terms of deliveries, is a firm that we have entered into an agreement, and we are able to liaise with when they do a delivery, we are able to track and confirm whether the delivery has reached the customer in the time that is expected, and we're able to get a report on a monthly basis, or on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, on how they are performing. But we are in constant touch. And to answer Dr. Mungai, we are a marketing company. So what we do is we make sure that we get the market for the products, then we get this person to deliver, to dispatch the products to our clients. Yes. So we make sure we are in constant touch to ensure that our clients are happy, and that there is no fraud happening in between ourselves and our client.
Wow, that's great. Dr. Francis, what are some of those things we can do to curb losses, time, losses in finances, products getting stolen, and all those kind of things?
Well, one of the things that you have to do is, as he said, you have to work with trusted people. And the next thing I would want to add is you make people responsible for whatever they are in charge of. I can talk about a company that I know, and it's not a big company. It was a hardware company, and it's a hardware company. The person who is a friend of, who was a friend of mine, he's late. He started a business, a hardware business, and people were stealing him. stealing from him, in his business, even when he was still standing there. People are laughing with you, but they are already colluding between themselves and your workers.
Yes.
And they are taking away the steel metals and all that, the cement and all that.
Yes.
And he was about to cross.
Okay.
Wow.
But then he told me that what he did was very interesting. He came to a point he did two things. One, he brought in computer systems,
Yes.
whereby he was able to track his stocks.
Yes.
Then the next thing he did is that he made somebody in charge of their sections.
Yes.
If you're in charge of the metals, you call them the building metal, what do you call them? These iron sheets, iron sheets, or
Yes.
the steel and all that.
Yes.
If you're in charge of that,
Yeah.
he gives you total authority
Yes.
to take care of that section.
Yes.
You are in charge of and responsible for your stocks,
Right.
and taking stock take on a daily basis.
Yes.
And if there's any discrepancy,
Yes.
you pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very tough, but
Yes.
it works.
Make people responsible.
Yes.
That's true. I think there are places also to be tough. Don't just be that nice guy every time. There are times you tell people, no, take responsibility. If you have employees, you have people who are mismanaging, making the wrong choices, wrong decisions. There's also the time to tell people, no, we can't do this. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you as the director or the founder or the entrepreneur, whoever you are, the founder of the business. So it's important that people also take responsibility. Well, unfortunately, our time is over. Maybe I'll give you each minute just to give you a final comment as we wrap up the program. Next time, we'll be able to now delve even deeper in this journey of entrepreneurship, business, establishing business, growth, and making sure we are profitable. Let's start with Mr. Waithaka here.
Thank you, Bishop. What I would say is encourage any viewer. You may be thinking of leaving employment to start off a business, or maybe you are not at whatever position you are in at the moment. You have a dream to start off the business. Please pursue your dream. Let the business be your passion, and commit it to God, and prepare the much that you can. You may not prepare 100%, but please start off and make a decision to start off the business. You will succeed.
Well said. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to the next episode. Dr. Francis.
Well, I'll tell the viewer, entrepreneurship is not easy. However, it's very, very rewarding. By faith, you can take the leap of faith, and with proper planning and God being on your side, you'll be able to be successful. So stay tuned as we keep on equipping you with tips on how you can grow your business. God bless.
Thank you so much. Indeed, as it's well said, you can succeed. If others have succeeded, no doubt you can succeed. So, and people who succeed are exactly like you and me. So continue pushing on and trusting you can make it, having the right systems and structures, and for sure your business will go to places, you'll create employment, help other people to grow, and at the end of the day, you're solving a problem in our society. Thank you so much. God bless you. See you next time.